Hey brother, thanks for clicking on that link and jumping in here. It's 3 short videos. I promise I'm going to give you some good stuff. I respect your time, I respect my time, and I value it. And so I promise to give you good things. I'm going to show you 3 simple steps inside a little known formula to help you get what you want most in life. So what is it you want most in life? I've been able to work with thousands of men literally across 5 continents. And ultimately have come to discover that what a man wants most is to be the man. Not do that and check the boxes and go through the motions or have one part of his life be really great and the other part kind of sucks. He wants to be the man, the whole thing. To be physically fit and healthy. To be mentally sharp and strong. To have emotional control and spiritual connection. To be socially grounded and connected to people and to have financial success and even financial independence. We want to be the man. But as you start thinking through that, you're like, well, what else do I want? Like, what do I want out of life? Well, you want a sense of confidence and competence. You want a sense of certainty. And I've worked with a lot of good men who they're just facing absolutely crippling fears and doubts and worries that stop them from pursuing their dreams or even keep them from sleeping well at night. And I've discovered that the greatest limitation is our own limiting beliefs about ourselves. And we all want that belief in ourselves, right? That conviction and that confidence. We want to be connected to God or to nature. You want to be on your A game, man, and show up wherever you show up, whether it's like in softball or football or soccer or art or singing or music or at work, like wherever you are, you want to be on your A game. You want to be confident and competent. You want to be one of the best in your field. But you also want that magic in your marriage, the spark, the connection, the romance, an awesome sex life. And we're your best friends and you can talk and you're building your dreams together. You want to have that deep connection, engagement with your kids where and you love being with your kids and they love being with you and they respect and admire you and you have massive amounts of influence with them. And one of the gentlemen in my masterclass, he wrote that the thing he wanted most, he was really focused on right now in his life, is helping his kids truly succeed in life, in all areas, to really excel. And we want that for our kids. But we also want to feel like we're safe and we're prepared. We're ready for what life can throw at us. We want to be able to protect and defend ourselves and our family and those around us. We want to have a great education and be fully developed. We want to overcome our weaknesses. We want emotional mastery, right? How many of you are struggling with emotional outbursts where you get angry and you yell at your kids or give them the dad lecture that never works, right? Or you just get too impatient with them and you hurt the relationship and you feel terrible about it, they feel terrible and you apologize, you try to make it right, but what's done is done and you're trying to get control of those emotions. And you want to be a contributor, a meaningful leader in your field and in your community. Whether it's politics or in your church or in organizations or groups you're in. For me, I love philanthropy. I just got back from going to Cuba to help with the hurricane cleanup. It was amazing. And we love traveling around the world wherever there's disasters and wherever people need help to be able to show up and make a difference in the world. So we want to have the time and the money and the resources and the knowledge and the skills to really make a difference. We want to live with meaning and purpose and fulfillment. We want to get our lives just dialed in so that we're effective and productive and we get things done. And we want to leave a mark, right? We want to build this legacy. It's awesome. These are the things we want. In fact, let me share some of the things that these gentlemen, the people I get to coach and work with, they shared some of these things. One of them said, I would say that my dominant ambition is to be useful, but more specifically, to have the time and the resources to fulfill the measure of my creation, right? Another one said, I want to live an abundant life. I want to live with abundant love for my wife and my children. I want to achieve financial freedom, and I want to give and serve others with abundant energy, right? And on and on and on. But what's the challenge, right? What's the obstacle? Why aren't we all enjoying this already? Why aren't you enjoying it already in a holistic approach? Well, there's a lot of obstacles, right? There's a lot of challenges we're all facing, and we get stuck, and we feel like we're trapped in these ruts. We become ineffective or unproductive. We procrastinate. We sometimes get laziness. We don't know how to influence our kids, or we get into bad habits or even addictions. Or, sadly, we just settle for less. And that's worth thinking about. Where have you settled for less? Because in life, brother, you get exactly what you tolerate. And sometimes we just have these low standards. We acquiesce and we say, that's okay, it's good enough. And we settle for that. And we give up on our potential and what we want most in life for maybe what we want in the moment. And so we're facing these obstacles and these challenges, whether it's in family or finances or fitness or faith, and we have to get that dialed in. And this is why I'm sharing this formula, right? It's 3 simple videos, and this is the best gift that I can give the world and that I can offer to you. And more on that later. But let me introduce myself more. So my name is Greg Denning. My parents divorced when I was young, and stepdads came and went. And I never had a really good example of what it was like to be the man. And so at 16, I left home. I went out on my own trying to figure out how to be a man, how to live life. And I was shy, really timid. I was insecure. I was broke. I was ignorant. And worst of all, I believed that I would always be that way. But I started to get these tiny glimpses of what might be possible. And then the Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, when I was 16 years old, on my own, living in this shack of a house in a bad part of town. I was sitting there by myself. We didn't have adequate heating, so I could see my breath in the air. And I got some conviction that night that this would never happen again, and it definitely would never happen to my children. And I think we all need a little more conviction in our life. It's like, you know what? This is what I want, and this is what I'm going to do. And we raise that standard and say, this is absolutely unacceptable, and these are my non-negotiables. And that night I got some conviction about my own health and energy and vitality and the kind of man I wanted to be. And then I got conviction about the kind of marriage and the quality of marriage I wanted. I actually started a list when I was 16 years old. I'll talk about that in the second video. I started a list of the qualities I wanted in my wife and in my marriage. And I wrote about and thought about and got conviction around the relationship I wanted with my future children. And I decided, you know what? I'm gonna be wealthy because I want to live an absolutely extraordinary life and do amazing things. And so I got some conviction there, and I started devouring every book I could get my hands on. And I was observing and paying attention and asking questions. I got on this quest to learn like peak performance and human development. And I've been on that for over 25 years. I still average a book a week. And I've been able to help people now across 5 continents around the world. And my wife and I, we've been married 22 years. And legitimately, I'm not just saying this, we have an extraordinary marriage. It's incredible. We have 7 children. I know it's huge. Like, people hear that and they're like, what? It's a big family. We love kids. We love our family. And our family dream, and I hope you have a family dream and a family legacy, ours is world travel. We love to see this awesome world and all the great people in it. So we've traveled all the world. So far, we've taken our kids to close to 40 countries. And we have this epic trip planned in the next few months. We're going to go spend a month in Norway and then take trains all the way across Scandinavia and then all down through Eastern Europe and then all the way across Western Europe, just to go have a big, awesome adventure with our kids for about a 3-month period. Last month, we even did a 7-month road trip through 3 huge countries. It's just awesome, right? Because we're out creating memories and experiences. And now my wife and I, we get to work together from home. We love the work we get to do as an executive life and business coach, and as the creator of the Be the Man Masterclass and Tribe. We get to do work that we love and connect with amazing people and have this life of abundance where we can be together all the time and we can live wherever we want and we can go on the adventures we want and do work that's meaningful and fulfilling and purposeful and connect with amazing men like you all around the world. We love what we do. So what happened is, with that conviction came this desire to do big things. So I came up with an acronym. We've all heard of SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. I'm like, yeah, that's great. That's how you get things done, but we need some dumb goals. And so I came up with an acronym for DUMB. It's demanding, unrealistic, meaningful, and bold. Demanding, unrealistic, meaningful, and bold. So I set some dumb goals, and this is as a teenager, and I just started chasing them. And if I couldn't figure it out, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to find out how to make this happen. If it's possible, I'm gonna do it. If others have done it, I'm gonna do it. And now I'm here to tell you that if I can do it, you can too. And so I found the answers and I compiled it. I'm like, okay, how do I fit this formula together? How do I take what I'm learning, what's working for me, what's working for my coaching clients, what's working for, I get to go speak all the time. I was just speaking just a few days ago. They flew me out to Las Vegas. The week before that, flew me out to Denver to speak. In fact, that was an awesome experience. I flew into Denver, spoke, and then got on an airplane and met my boys up in Maine so we could have an adventure with my sons. And we're just all over the place. And I get to go share this with audiences, and it just works. But I wanted a simple formula, right? 3 simple things that any man could use to be the man. And what I call holistic optimization, meaning whole life optimization, where each part of your life is working at its peak level. Because really, isn't that the only way to do it, right? You're married, or you want to be married. You have children, or maybe you want children. You want a phenomenal career. You want to lead. You want to contribute. You want to stay in fantastic shape. You want to get a great education. There's so much to do that none of us can waste time, and none of us can afford to not be optimized, to not be effective and productive. So I'm like, how do we figure this out? And I worked on it for years. And like I told you before, I was just searching voraciously. And I came up with the formula. And it's what I call the Triple Trifecta, right? And it's 3 interlocking triangles. And you got a sword through there for the symbolism of manliness and chivalry and power and protection and honor. But it's going through the shield of the 3 interlocking triangles. And the 3 triangles are fitness, family, and finances. And inside each of those are 3 things individually. So we're going to the next 2 videos are family and finances, and the 3 things inside of each of those. But in this video, we're just going to dive into fitness and why this matters so much. And we have to start with fitness, because I cannot give what I do not have. And I can't draw from an empty well. And so I have to be fit. But it's not just physical fitness. And I hope you want that, brother. If you've got some extra weight, I hope you're willing to put in the work and get the answers to get in the best shape of your life. I want you to be ripped at 40, 50, 60, 70. To be shredded, right? To be lean and tough. Because you and I, we have to have the energy and the vitality to live an extraordinary life. You can't do epic things if you can barely get your butt out of bed in the morning. And you want to have the clarity of mind that comes from having your body in a great condition. You want to enjoy good health and get sick very rarely, if ever. And to have strength and stamina to still play and wrestle with your kids. This is one of the things that just killed me. I think I was 13 or 14, and my dad came for a visit, and I wanted to wrestle with him. I only saw him every once in a great while. And I'm like, let's wrestle, right? I was a teenage boy and just like, come on, let's wrestle. And he's like, oh, no, don't touch me. Don't do that. No, don't wrestle. And man, in that moment, that was more conviction for me. I said, I decided, like 13, 14, I'm like, I will always be in phenomenal shape. I don't care what age my kids want to wrestle with me. I'm going to be ready to play and wrestle and do hard things. And now, I took my oldest son, he and I trekked up to the base camp of Everest. Took my other son and we circled Iceland together. Took my son and my daughter, we went and rode ponies across Mongolia. And we lead trips through, I did a World War II trip. And my wife and I, we lead trips for couples. We took some couples on the Inca Trail in Peru, all the way into Machu Picchu. And then, man, last year we did a private yacht through the Galapagos with these other couples. And we've gone way out into the Sahara to ride camels and sandboarding on the dunes. And I just did a hardcore marathon. In fact, this weekend I'm doing one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, right? A physical challenge. And, I do the races and I push my limits. And I work out every day with my kids and we do Krav Maga 2 or 3 times a week and train together. So it's just an example of like, we want to be healthy and fit and alive so that I can show up for myself because I feel fantastic. And then I'm showing up at my A game level, right? So I'm not just dragging myself out of bed and dragging myself through the day and really trying to, this battle to try to do my work and not, go give my best at work and then come home and give leftovers to my kids. Gentlemen, that is unacceptable. And then, for the simple reason of showing up for your wife and being able to help and serve her, and for sex, right? Good sex comes from great health. And then pursuing your dreams and goals. I hope you have huge, dumb goals. And I want to live for a very long time and live very healthy. So now, I create tons of courses, and in the training, the masterclass, I've created all those things, go into all the details of how to do that. But ultimately, it comes down to eating very well, right? And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be terrible. You're not chewing on some disgusting things like, ugh. My rule is it has to be delicious and nutritious. And you get that dialed in, and I share that. And then finding exercise you actually really love to do, right? You get that positive addiction to good workouts and doing those HIIT workouts, high intensity interval training workouts. And that way, man, you can be lean and you can eat good food and you can have a 6-pack and you can play whatever sports you want or do whatever kind of working out you want and be physically fit. The second part of fitness, so it's mind, body, and spirit. So we went with body first, but mind. We have to be mentally fit. You want to be well educated, both in breadth and depth. And you can see these books behind me, right? We have an awesome library, and like I told you, I read a book a week. I committed years ago to learn a new language, become fluent in a new language every 5 years. So I'm challenging my mind with that, and then understanding principles and ideas and studying psychology and sociology and economics, understanding money, which we'll get to in the third video, how to succeed financially. And you want your mind to be sharp in education and languages, in memorization, in memory. You want your memory to be sharp. And you also want your mindset to be tough and to have this growth mindset, right? Don't you want the certainty that in your mind you're like, I will figure this out. Right here on my office wall, I have a sign I've had up for years. It says, I will either find a way or I will make one. And that's an ancient quote that I've embraced as my own, as a core mental philosophy and a mental toughness. That when there's an obstacle, when there's a challenge, I lean into it. Like, let's go. And we do hard things, from anything from something simple as, I take a cold shower every day, but ice baths, and then intense physical challenges, and work challenges, and service challenges, and tackling big things where so many good men, the first sign of an obstacle or setback, they throw in the towel. Like, oh man, I'm out. This is too hard. It's not working out. Or the first sign of failure. Right? Have you ever done that? Something doesn't work out, you fail, you make a mistake. What do you do mentally? A lot of men just check out. And we want to be mentally fit so we can handle that. We can handle the failures and the setbacks. We can have the right growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset of, oh, well, shoot, this is just the way I am. This is just the way things are. I guess I'm stuck this way. And so we exercise our mind. And again, we don't have time to go into all of this. but there's so many simple and powerful strategies to strengthen your mind. And I'll introduce this idea right here, this practice. I call it microdosing and macrodosing. So a microdose is something you do every day. So it's eating well and exercising each day is microdosing, and macrodosing for the mind would be little things you read, little exercises. Right now, at the time of this recording, I'm close to 950 consecutive days in Duolingo, which I use to study French right now. And it's the little consistency, the microdosing in the mind, and reading and writing. I have what I call my philosophy journal. I talked about in my podcast. I taught all about that. That's the microdosing. And then the macrodosing is for the mind. You'd go out and do some really difficult mental challenge, or go learn something really challenging that just totally stretches your limits, and have a big experience around that. That's the macrodosing. But like 80%, at least 80% of all success is psychological. And where the mind goes, the body follows. And where the mind goes and what we focus on, we feel. And what we focus on, we get, and it leads to our results. That's why we have to have our minds very, very fit. And the third is, so it's mind, body, and spirit. We have to have spiritual fitness as well. Now, sometimes we confuse that with religion, and it definitely can include religion, but it's this relationship with God. It's a relationship with your spirit. It can even be a relationship like with nature, and just getting centered and grounded and whole right here on the inside. But so many good men are tormented internally. They don't have the inner peace. And maybe they're emaciated, or massive spiritual atrophy, or even mental atrophy, or physical atrophy, right? We can picture it. You can see it physically when you're out of shape. You're like 90 pounds overweight. In fact, one of my brand new clients, it was awesome. Met with him last week. He's already down 10 pounds with the strategy I gave him. He messaged me today. It's like, man, I'm down 10 pounds, feeling fantastic in less than a week. I've helped a lot of my clients that they've been overweight their entire adult life get down to, fighting fitness and functional fitness, right? Get down to a weight and a fitness they felt back in high school or university. But you can see that atrophy or the obesity, but it's the same way mentally too, or shrink or out of shape or spiritually. And you can see a little shriveled up, weak or obese spirit that's just not functioning right. And so there's a void. There's a hole in here. And when that's off, you guys know this already, right? When that's off, man, it affects everything. And even if things are going well on the outside, they have to be going well on the inside as well. We got to feel whole and good and strong and grounded again. So when things fall apart, or there's a real crisis, or a real trauma, that's where a fit spirit is a light and a strength, not just for you, but for the people around you. See, isn't this beautiful and powerful? And it has to start with you as a man, as a whole man, going, again, like we talked about, going after the things that you want most, and literally transcending, just outgrowing the obstacles and the challenges and the problems, and getting to a place where you are very, very fit and healthy in mind, body, and spirit. All right, so that's just the first step. The first step is fitness. And again, I go into more. There's a lot more training available, a lot more simple strategies. I've tried it all, and I know what works, and what's worked for me, and what works for my clients. And this is why I live for this. I get to share this stuff all the time, and I get to train and give the tactics and the tools and the training and the team, which I call it a tribe, right? This community, this band of brothers that are working together and supporting each other so we can be our very best selves. Now in the next video, we're going to dive into really the most important aspect of life. I mean, we have to be whole ourselves in mind, body, and spirit. But the quality of your life will be determined by the quality of your relationships. So in the next video, we're going to dive into the family, which is the second of the trifectas, right? And that is your marriage, your parenting, your relationship with your kids, and your family legacy, the reputation and legacy you're building every day. See you in the next video.